Hi there, welcome to the 5th episode of Nerdcast. I'm joined today by Katie,
Hello.
Liz,
Hey.
and we will be having a guest appearance from our sound man, Mr. Mango, who waves hello. First off, just talking about some game releases. I think it's today or yesterday. Titanfall came out on the 360, which is exciting because everyone thought it was only going to be out on the Xbox One. And whilst talking about the old consoles, Call of Duty Ghosts and Battlefield 4 will be coming out on the PS3 and the Xbox 360 in November. So, Katie, how are you?
Oh, okay, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Liz?
I'm good, yeah.
Last week you weren't here, Katie.
No.
We had a quick discussion about Arrow and The Flash, and I said about The Flash's new costume. You want to talk about a new hero series coming out?
Yeah. By the way, the new Flash costume is just terrible. It's not good.
I don't know whether it's the costume or how it looks on the guy.
No, I think it's the costume. It's just, it's not the right material.
They did so good with Arrows, but
Arrows is really good because I think in the comics and whatnot and animations, it's
pretty similar.
it's not like a superhero costume that you normally get.
It's like I've discussed with Reed. The only thing that's different is that he hasn't got a beard, but that's.
He's got a bit of stubble going on.
Bit of stubble.
One of our queen. What new stuff's coming out? We've got Gotham coming out, which I lead to believe, I haven't really read into it too much, but I believe it's like before Batman maybe, and it's based on Commissioner Gordon, so that looks really good.
I find that quite interesting because a couple of episodes ago I discussed a film I watched called Batman, I think it was The First Flight, which is about when Batman first started and when Commissioner Gordon first came to Gotham, about their relationship, how it built up and how the Commissioner soon had to deal with not only the scum of Gotham but the bad cops of his police department as well. So I think a TV series focusing on his struggle would be quite good.
Yeah, no, the cast, the actor for Commissioner Gordon, he looks quite young, so I think it's like the young life of him. So.
Is it a moustache?
No, he doesn't.
Maybe it will involve like him growing it, throughout the series.
Every day is like combing it.
The stronger he gets, the thicker it goes. Talking about the mustache, by the way. On the subject of heroes, I know that we had a discussion about Avengers, didn't we?
Yeah, I was wondering, because obviously in the first one we lost Carson.
No!
So I was wondering, because of the
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. By Joss Whedon.
Oh.
Or Joss. I can't pronounce it. And he's back, mysteriously. Although we found out, I think,
The series does explain it.
Yeah.
And what I want to know is how they're going to, if they will, bring him back into the second one. Because people like me, I only watched the first few episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
And then I got a little bit bored. No offence.
I don't think it was what any of us expected it to be.
Yeah, and I might go back to it, but I don't know how they're going to bring him back into the second one, if they
Whether
are.
they'll explain it or not.
Yeah.
Because with the... Because they didn't explain the films with the agents, with the first Avengers, but then they knew everyone would see the films.
Yeah, because I mean, like, in modern day, like, stuff, you don't really have to know the character, because, like, before you've seen the film, because in the film they kind of give a brief outline of who that character is.
Yeah.
For, like, modern people, but, like, people just want to be entertained type thing, so,
yeah.
Like,
I mean, people that come off to see the second one and see Coulson there, they'll be like, how did he get here? Why is he alive?
But Loki.
And I don't know what they'll do about that.
What do you think they'll do this?
I have no idea. I don't know whether they'll just sort of bring him in and hope that other people sort of read up on it and somehow find out what's been going on.
I don't think people are too clever enough to think that.
See, I don't know what it was with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I didn't like it. Just didn't get into it.
I think it was more like, it wasn't so much the same storyline, but you knew the beginning and the end were exactly the
Yeah.
same. It
Like,
just
every week it'd be, there's something gone down, let's go in and sort it out. We nearly don't fix it, but then we
And
do.
have you noticed that because they're like a private agency spy system corporation, they seem to have their logo everywhere.
Yeah.
But then again, as the films, the new ones, I think do explain that because of Avengers, the first one, Shield has become more well known, and people more because like within the first films, people are like scared of superheroes to begin with. But then as it goes on with Iron Man and the Shield stuff, they think, oh, Shield's quite useful and the superheroes can save us.
Yeah,
The police, though, still don't know who they are, and you'd think like they'd be one of the first kind of groups to know.
yeah, it's like people are like scared of Shield. Yeah, you know where Shield's around, so it's like. I remember in the first few episodes, well, I think it was the first episode, where this guy had this kind of superpower that he hid, but he saved a burning building and people from it. And then this woman, oh no, it was the first episode because
Yeah.
the girl joined Shield in the end, and she was like some spy on her own case and whatnot.
An internet hacker.
Yeah,
Yeah,
hacker.
internet hacker. And like she knew everything about Shield, and she was like, "Shield aren't good," and you're like, "There's Shield," and you're like, "Better run."
Yeah. Well, on the subject of superhero movies, what do you think about DC having their own line of films? Because I know there's been talk about it for a long time, and they've got the Superman versus Batman and Man of Steel. Would you think they'd be better than the Marvel ones?
I think because like they'll sort of apply to kind of different people. Like people tend to either be Marvel or DC.
Yeah.
Then they'll sort of. I guess it will kind of depend.
The thing I found with DC is like with Marvel, like lots of people like Marvel, whether they're into superheroes or not. But DC is like you get hardcore fans.
Yeah, I think Marvel's more based on like accident. Well, no, all superheroes basically accident, aren't they? But it's more based on America. Marvel's based in the real world, whereas DC's based on like a parallel universe because it's like Gotham and whatnot. But to be honest, I prefer the DC animations.
Yeah.
Like they're more enjoyable compared to like the movies that they've made.
I think DC has a really good storyline to go with their stuff as well.
Oh yeah.
And like with their films, they do their comic books.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think Marvel, like I don't think DC have gone so much into it, but Marvel's more gone into the franchise type of thing because
Yeah.
it's more popular. It's like this summer coming to a cinema near you, like Avengers, and then like they do it more for entertainment purposes,
Yeah.
more than like say the story. In my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you there. One thing that me and Alex have discussed in the posters review is we found a poster of Marvel versus DC. And I was
Yeah.
just like, that just would not work.
No, I don't think. it
Getting
would.
two big franchises trying to have a fight just wouldn't play out because one would be like, oh, but our guy's better at this. No, but our guy would still beat him. No, but our guy's better. No, but our guy's better. And it just wouldn't.
Yeah, it just wouldn't work
Well,
because
into a shouting match.
they'll
Yeah.
probably both want to win.
Exactly.
Like,
It's like, it's alright with a book I've read called Avengers versus X-Men. It's okay because Marvel creators are both of them, so they don't mind if one of their characters loses because they only have one. But when it comes down to versing each other, DC and Marvel, everyone knows that DC would win, apart from Marvel.
yeah, they just have a Hulk.
Yeah, in other news, Mr. Mango's discussed with me that he thinks, 12 Years a Slave?
I haven't seen it.
There's an actor in that. I don't think she's well known. She's apparently going to be in Star Wars.
Is that the Oscar winner?
I think so. I don't know. Anyway, moving on to a bit
Helpful,
of Star
Alex.
Wars chat. I'll pass you
It's
over to
probably
Mr.
the
Mango.
Oscar winner.
Thank you very much, Matt. Okay, so have any of you heard about a new cartoon series called Star Wars Rebels?
No.
No.
Okay, what about you, Matt?
No.
Okay, Right. Okay. So this is going to be hard to maneuver because I'm miking and booking.
Oh, he's got.
Oh, thank you,
He's
Matt.
got a folder.
Thank you. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to go through all the characters, and I was
Presentation.
wondering what you guys thought, but I should probably clarify straight away that this is Firefly and Star Wars.
Firefly, but it's
yeah.
not Firefly and Star Wars. It's what Alex thinks would be a combination of the two.
Why do you think it's Firefly and Star Wars?
Well, partly because of the fact that they're all isolated on one ship together and go through their multiple adventures around this one ship. But also because of the fact, very similar to Firefly, they all have their strengths and they all have their weaknesses. So you've got the muscle, the captain, the co-pilot, the, like the mum of the family. And then
Wash has no weaknesses.
I'm a leaf on the wind.
you know, he did struggle with a bullet.
It wasn't a bullet. It was a massive.
Spear.
No, it wasn't even a
Grapple
spear. It was like no, it wasn't a grapple hook. It was like some massive spike of doom.
Spike of doom.
I don't think it was a grapple hook. It was more of a. I don't know. It's a cross between a bullet and a grapple hook. It was fired from the Reaver ship. Spoiler alert!
Anyway, okay, so this is the first character, the Jedi. I think you pronounce it as Kanan.
Okay.
And this is set during the reign of the Galactic Empire. He's one that survived Order 66. He is the captain of the Ghost, which is what the name of the ship is.
Okay.
He's sort of traded his lightsaber for a blaster, so he's like a cowboy Jedi. But he does eventually have to get his lightsaber out for conflicts that demand it. Like I think there's a new Sith that wields a double-bladed lightsaber that has a curve around it, like the hilt. So it's a Darth Maul, Darth Vader sort of figure. He's dressed in similar armor to that of General Kenobi in the Clone Wars, with just the one shoulder pad of clone armor, and he keeps his true identity hidden because if he were to reveal it, he'd obviously be killed by the Empire. The second character is...
Do you know who trained the Jedi? Just before we move on.
No, I don't. No. The second character is, I think that's pronounced as Hera. She's a Twi'lek and she's the pilot of the Ghost.
Which I assume is the ship that the crew flies around.
Yeah, he's mentioned that.
I just said that. She's essentially the mother of the group, and but she's not interested in glamour. She's just interested about getting the job done. I should probably clarify that this is like a 3+ production, similar to that of the Clone Wars. So you're going to get a lot of bad jokes, unfortunately.
I love it.
But our third character is Zeb, who's the muscle of the group, and on his home planet he's an honor guard. He's also a brand new species to the Star Wars universe.
I've actually on Facebook, the Star Wars page released a video of the creation behind him, had the actor explaining why he liked the character and everything. So if you have Star Wars on your Facebook account, I'd recommend going to watch that video.
So you do know some of it.
Well, I don't really know what he was in. It just said this is a new character we're going to introduce, one of our new creations. But I liked him. I liked the idea for that character.
He starts off as an outcast of the crew and starts to get annoyed with some of the other characters. The child, who I'm going to talk about later, the droid, and but then eventually becomes part of the family. But he's the one that they struggle most to get onto their side. So there's probably going to be some conflict between other characters and him. But he's from a military upbringing and is just as good with a gun or honor guard staff as he is with his hands and feet. So he's like the if you've all seen X-Men, he's the no, not the Wolverine. He is the... Give me a minute. I have written it down here somewhere. He's the Beast of the Star Wars universe. That's it, isn't it? The blue guy.
The Beast isn't good with weapons.
Well, no, but I'm talking about hand and feet combat. The fact that he would be similar in that sort of situation. Anyway, moving on. My personal favourite, Sabine, who is a Mandalorian. In case any of you don't know what a Mandalorian is, it's one of the greatest fighting races in the Star Wars universe, who brought up in a military upbringing as well, but their lives are strictly revolved around conflict. But she also does, I know this is going to sound incredibly childish, but she also does graffiti in her free time. And whenever they've been at an area controlled by the Empire, she'll spray the logo of the Rebel Alliance on a wall, just as a sort of extra fu to the Empire. She's, I think, how someone described her, she's a bit of a spunky character.
Do you know what spunky means?
Yeah,
I
I'm
think I do.
wondering.
I think I do, but I'm not going to try and get that.
There's a normal meaning and then there's a dirty meaning.
I'm thinking of the other reason.
I'm thinking normal meaning for a 3+ cartoon.
Let's hope so.
But she mainly wields 2 blasters, and she likes to blow things up with style, so she's not someone who will meaninglessly...
She is very spunky though.
So yeah, it's definitely my favourite character, just because I think it's something so new to the Star Wars universe. And I'm really interested to see how they develop on her. I think the 5th character is, I can't pronounce that, Ezra.
Ezra.
He's
Ezra.
the child of the gang.
Ezra! No!
He's also force sensitive, so that could cause some interesting conversations between him and the Jedi. And he has a habit of stealing the Empire's helmets. So he's not a droid, in case any of you were wondering. He does have a head under the...
Just like souvenirs.
Yeah, he does, just like souvenirs. But he insists most of the time that he works alone. He's a con artist, so he's been on the run from the Empire his whole life. And it's the series is mostly shown through his eyes.
Okay.
So, and our 6th character is Chopper. He's the astromech droid. But he's the first one in the Star Wars universe who's completely disobedient. Unlike R2, who's slightly disobedient, he will always find a way to disobey the crew of the Ghost. But I think when they were trying to work on his concept art, they came across the concept art of R2-D2, and he had sort of many different arms coming out, and the similar head to the old, I think, R5 units.
Yeah, he seems to have, like, apart from the actual head, he looks exactly the same as R2, basically.
Yeah. And also has a problem with ladders.
I wonder
Is that why he's
why.
staring one down?
I think because in the video he just ends up going over to it and meleeing it with one of his little hands. But yeah, so he's one of the characters that Zeb seems to have a bit of conflict with. The child is the other character that Zeb has conflict with. But I'm really interested to see how this develops. So it's over to you guys now to discuss.
I'm not going to watch it.
No.
Because I don't like Star Wars childish cartoons, because that's what they're for. They're for the children, because I don't enjoy them because they're comical and they drift away from the original Star Wars.
Then what do you prefer over the first 3 episodes compared to the Clone Wars?
I prefer the first 3 episodes to the Clone Wars.
What, Phantom Menace?
Yeah. We've discussed this. I mean, it isn't a great film to lead on through the other 3, but the Clone Wars isn't great to lead on to the other 3.
It's because it's not part of the 3, but I choose to watch the Clone Wars over the first 3 episodes.
That's where we disagree.
Sorry, I'm just right. No, I noticed as you were going through the bio of each character, and you said it's like Firefly. I noticed that the characteristics, like, you can actually see them in Firefly characters. So, like, the pilot, that would be that would be Zoe and Wash, both into it.
Fair child.
It would be the child. I can't think of any other characters now. The child is like River, because she's been on the run from the...
Honor guard, Jane.
Going back to River. I was getting to that. I'm trying to think of all the characters though that I've just seen. I'm like trying to remember which ones were which. But like, no, River's been on the run, and so is that child. So, and I feel also with the other combat fighter, the girl one that graffitis on the wall, that's a bit like River as well. So.
Awesome at fighting, but still childish.
Yeah, extremely childish, and she does a lot of art. So.
It does just basically seem sort of like they've kind of watched Firefly and then sort of taken the basic
Yeah.
idea. and just use it and adapt to
I
it.
noticed that a lot in like other stuff. I think it's because I'm too obsessed that I see Firefly in everything
Everywhere.
now. I'm like, they stole that from Firefly. But then I looked at Prometheus and was like, oh, no, that's just the same shit.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
So do you think any of this will be like characters and stuff? We'll see any of these new characters, like the new race in the new Star Wars?
The question is, will there be a need? If it's just being focused around Han and Leia and Mara Jade and Luke Skywalker's children, then there probably won't be a need to throw them in as a main character, maybe as a side character.
I just said, do you think we'll see another race?
Oh, a new race? Yeah, definitely.
You know, like you were saying that the Honor Guard is a race we haven't really seen before. I mean, like, do you think we'll see his race crop up now that they've introduced him?
I just answered that. I said,
You said there won't be as like a main character.
yeah, and then
They'll be in passing.
What do you think of it, Liz? Will you watch it?
I might. I don't know. I probably will do.
Do you know the channel yet?
Cartoon Network.
Oh, no, I can't then.
I
Answer that
can't either.
question.
Do you think it'll be an improvement from Clone Wars?
It's made by the same people, so it's essentially their continuation. Because after the Clone Wars got shut down, which I don't know whether any of you saw the last episode,
No.
it was great, but it's their continuation. It's their new project. So yeah, I think that they'll try and better themselves, because why wouldn't they? But I'd at least want it to match it. There's no point in getting worse.
Why did the Clone Wars shut down?
It was some deal with Disney. They shut down LucasArts,
Oh, okay.
which was the company that I think they've now transferred some of the people over from that to whatever now the
Yeah,
company
Disney.
is for them. So
Oh, okay.
that's
Do you think, you know how I was discussing last week, how they're Marvel are getting together to help make some new Star Wars comics? Could you imagine if they make them into animated movies?
ooh.
Yeah.
that could be interesting. I suppose the one thing I want to see in animation, because I know they'll never bring it to the normal Star Wars movies. I want to see more about the Old Republic.
One thing that I do think will be good about this new cartoon they're doing was when they were discussing it on the video they released, talking about the Honor Guard character, how they're going to be focusing on building up the story behind the characters and really getting in depth to their personal life and developing them, how they mix with each other and then grow to love each other. Like they were saying that the Honor Guard's a really stern, tough guy. Then you get moments where he really bonds with the kid, trying to look after him and take him on as a father figure.
Aw, very cute.
Yes, that's what Star Wars needs, a bit of cuteness. So, moving on, seeing it's similar to Firefly, I guess we'll jump to that topic. I brought up saying last week that you mentioned that they weren't going to do the second series. Fox cancelled doing it again.
What?
You said to me,
Oh.
remember they were in discussion that they were thinking about doing something else for Firefly,
Yeah.
and when you told me that Fox cancelled it,
No, I didn't.
you did.
I really didn't.
You did.
No, I remember us discussing how they were thinking of bringing out either Serenity 2, a new series, or remake the series, or something like that. But that's as far as our
And then you told me they
conversation went.
cancelled it. Anyway, would you be interested in Firefly doing their own take? You know how they do cartoons for Star Wars. They did Clone Wars and stuff like that. If Firefly did, maybe from different perspectives of not Captain Reynolds and his crew, but from other parts in time, like from the war of the Alliance versus the Browncoats and stuff.
What, a cartoon series?
Cartoon or non-cartoon.
As I'm still quite new to the Firefly universe, I really want to learn more. You and Katie introduced me to it, and I'm incredibly pleased that you did. And it's a universe that I think I could really get into. So yeah, anything that expands on any of the characters. I don't think there's one character that I think, I don't really want to know much more about him or her. I really do want to learn a lot more about them. So yeah, definitely.
So wait, do you mean like, say, before they all got together?
Well, it could be interesting if before they got all together, just to see how, because he doesn't really go into much detail about before the crew got together. I mean, they go into snippets, but
So, like, say, Washington's in his home planet.
yeah,
Okay.
Like-
Yeah.
of how like when they got to the planet, sort of like if they started a story off from when they left Earth, that was, and how they get into the development of the planets and how the outer planets became outer planets and the conflict between the Alliance and the Browncoats.
It's
Yeah.
explained in Serenity at the beginning.
They do a short, like, 10-minute
That's
video
all you
of
need
how
to
they have a
know.
war. But I'm just saying it might make a good TV series.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know like much about it, but I think that sounds actually like a really good idea. Like how sort of their lives bring them all together. But of course, I don't know that much about it.
No, but to be honest, all you need to know is they left the planet because it was overpopulated. and we
Okay,
used
screw
up
it.
all
We
the
won't have that. We'll
resources.
just carry on with the next series, shall we?
No, I like the idea of, like, say, the prequel to the Firefly that we know. So we learn, like, about Shepard if you haven't read
Read
the
the
comic. They've got a new comic out, actually. Like, Wash and his old planet, and learn about more on, say, Wash and Zoe's relationship, because you just knew that they were together, and you're like, how did that happen? Because obviously you find out that at first Zoe didn't like Wash, and then all of a sudden they're married. You're like, oh, and obviously like you want to know what happens after, like after Serenity and after River gets better, and
If
just what
she
happens.
gets better.
Did you not watch the end of Serenity?
But she didn't really get better.
Did you watch any of
She
that?
didn't get better.
She threw up and she felt fine.
Doesn't mean she got better.
Yes, so that's what we find out in the new series.
How do you know? We could find that in the new series.
They haven't made a new series yet.
But you
That's why I said.
That,
maybe
but
we
you
can
said River
find
got
out-
better, and I said you don't
how
know
River
that, and you
gets
said,
better.
but she might not. Is what I said.
Then we'll find out in the
But
next
then you
series.
questioned me saying she did
Yeah, because
because she threw up and didn't feel bad afterwards.
no, because if you saw the Serenity,
You
did
saw
you see it?
Serenity at the end,
Okay, so after they discovered the planet
yeah,
and they found out the secret,
yeah,
she threw up
yeah.
and she's like, "Oh, I'm better. I'm fine."
No, doesn't mean she's cured from a mental thing, whatever it is.
I think she's always been a bit senile. If you looked at her when she was younger.
Moving on. What would you prefer if they did do a little series?
Don't care now.
And-
You're gonna ruin it. No, I think I don't know.
What would you prefer if they did have an animated series, or if they went back to actors? Because if they went to actors, they'd have to really get new ones, I
No,
suppose,
just
depending on what time they did it in.
do like 10 years later maybe, because Nathan Fillion's he's chopped out a bit. Not gonna lie, you can tell he's aged. But I don't know how they can do that, because I suppose Ron Glass, the guy who plays Shepard, he
Yeah.
doesn't look any different. And
But he's busy at Shield.
he's busy at Shield. Someday we're gonna know what you did. Welcome to level 7. No, well, the thing is, you kind of want to know like the past as well as the future. So they could do 10 years, and then they could really go into the past and like have different actors for when they were really young,
Yeah.
maybe. But I personally, I want the cast back because I love the cast.
But what I mean, like, is when they come down to it, because I always prefer an animated series because they can just do a lot more with it.
Oh yeah.
As in, like, it's cheaper because you don't have to put loads of effects in, but you can have amazing stuff in it.
No, still, I don't know. I love it too much to let it go to animation.
Do you have any idea how long it takes to make an animated series? My friend Rosie told me that apparently if one person was to make a Pixar film, it would take them 500 years.
That's true. It did take forever for
So-
Toy Story to come out.
They've made Star Wars twice now, 2 different types. They've got the Clone Wars series, and now they've got this one coming out. They could do a Firefly one. They've got countless DC series and films.
Have they said when they're gonna start up the new series of Star Wars? No,
It's this year.
this year. No.
Thank you, Liz.
Blah, 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 blah.
Okay, I've got an idea. it can be an idea that you guys can say no to, but have any of you read any Star Wars novels?
No.
No,
I'm not asking you to read any,
I'm
I
gonna
know.
read them.
but there's an audiobook version of a book that everyone doesn't
Gonna
like,
get that. Yeah.
and it's on YouTube. It's for the book Revan, and in case you didn't know, I really like that character. So I thought maybe for a future podcast, not next week, maybe not even this series, just take your time. If you get some time, listen to it, and then we can discuss what do you think of the character and the book. And I think it'd be cool to look at that side of Star Wars instead of looking into the future all the time, because that's not just where the
Well,
interesting
did you wanna-
stories lie.
Why don't you just tell us a bit about it?
I can
Let's lay
do,
it
but
down.
then we're going to have to wrap up.
Revan was a human male and was born in 3994 BBY. He is described by Darth Malak as a savior, conqueror, hero, and villain. You are all these things, Revan, and yet you are nothing. In the end, you belong to neither the light nor the darkness. You will forever stand alone. As a child, Revan was discovered as a Force-sensitive being and was accepted into the Jedi Order. He was trained alongside a student called Alec on the planet Coruscant and the planet Dantooine. Sometime before the year 3964 BBY, Revan earned the title of Jedi Knight. Both Alec and Revan were known as being among the most promising members of the Jedi Order. When the threat of the Mandalorians first arose, both Revan and Alec were eager to fight back, but the Council thought it best to move with care. Regardless of this, Revan and Alec gathered together followers and eventually came across forces under the command of Mandalore the Ultimate. Alec, now under the mastery of Revan, adorned himself with the new title Malak. After being inspired by the owner of a Mandalorian mask Revan found, and the sacrifice of the owner, Revan took the mask and placed it on himself, vowing to wear it until the Mandalorians were brought to justice. Not long afterwards, Revan travelled to a Sith world and succumbed to the ways of the dark side, and also introduced Malak to the dark side. Although under the thrall of the dark side, Revan did not give up the ways of the Jedi initially. Revan changed his purple blade to a blue blade and ordered the construction of a superweapon called the Mass Shadow Generator. During a mass naval battle, Mandalore realized that defeat was inevitable and decided to challenge Revan to single combat, and Revan agreed. Revan engaged Mandalore and came out victorious. As Mandalore was dying, he revealed to Revan that he had been manipulated by a pure-blood Sith into starting the war. Revan took the mask of the Mandalorians, knowing that without it they could not have a new leader, and therefore would be nothing without it. Revan ordered the activation of the Mass Shadow Generator, and watched in horror as both Republic and Mandalorian ships are pulled out of orbit and into the Sith planet of where he succumbed to the dark side, killing many on both sides. The remaining Mandalorians surrendered immediately. Revan then constructed a new assassin droid named HK-47 in order to avoid the devastation at the Sith planet. HK-47 would be for more selective targets. After hiding the mask of the Mandalorians, both Malak and Revan travelled alone to a planet that they discovered to be the site of a ritual by a Sith called Vitiate. He had wiped the planet of all life and the Force itself. Determined to locate the Sith threat, Malak and Revan followed the trail to Dromund Kaas, which they discovered to be the capital of a new Sith empire. Undercover for many months, they learnt all they could about Vitiate, and then eventually made their way to confront Emperor Vitiate in Kaas City. When they arrived in the throne room, the Emperor reached out and dominated their minds, turning both Malak and Revan into his servants. He ordered them to make use of the Starforge, and to report back when they had crushed the Republic's resistance. However, when they boarded the Starforge, they broke free of the Emperor's control. Still under the dark side, Revan and Malak declared themselves Dark Lords and leaders of a new Sith Empire, and Revan took Malak on as his apprentice. Although, by 3957 BBY, Malak had begun to resent his master, and said to Revan that he was being too soft to be a Sith. This resulted in a duel between the two, which resulted in Malak having his jaw severed off. Later, a group of Jedi went to confront Revan. Before they could engage him, Malak on a nearby ship opened fire on Revan's bridge. Revan was saved by the Jedi and was taken to Dantooine, where the Jedi Council decided to wipe his memory and give him a new identity. When Revan awoke, he was a soldier, and for many years served as one, until the Jedi decided to retrain him under the fear that if they didn't, Darth Revan would return. Revan, his partner Bastila Shan, and his crew are captured, but they do manage to escape. However, Bastila stays behind and falls to the torture of Malak and becomes warped by the dark side. Revan encounters Bastila on several occasions where she asked him to come back to the dark side and to be her new master. However, Revan tries to do the same and turn Bastila back to the light, and he succeeds. After having a failed encounter with Malak, Revan tries again, and this time comes out top. As Malak is dying, Revan apologizes for corrupting him.
So what's your defense? Why do you think people are giving it such a harsh review?
Because unlike other Star Wars novels, which go into detail about a rock that may be on the ground for 2 chapters, the book Revan, it leaves a lot up to the imagination, a lot. So it doesn't describe every room, it doesn't describe every feeling. But that's the sort of book I like, and that's the sort of novel that I'm writing at the moment.
So you'll say like the people criticise because not because of the storyline, but because of the lack of detail.
That, and also I think they also don't like the storyline. I think they believe that Revan was not given enough power, but then again, Revan was weak at the time, so they're wrong in my opinion.
It challenges other people's take on the character.
Yeah. So it's really up to you guys what you think of Revan as a character. But this is after his mind's been wiped by the Jedi. So all the stuff with Malak, that's already happened.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, we'll give that a look into.
Thank you very much. Do you want to wrap up with some Aquaman facts, if you have any?
Oh no. Shh. Oh no, this is the thing you wanted to
say that.
do.
That's your thing.
I was about to say it before you interrupted
I'm sorry,
me.
Liz, do you want your mic back?
As we all know, Aquaman is amazing, so I'm going to wrap up with a fact about him. The fact I have for you tonight about Aquaman, or today, depending when you're watching this, he has a mass army. Aquaman, the people of Atlantis, the soldiers, have 3 times the strength of a normal man. And the Atlantis and the cities of underneath the water are a lot bigger than anyone thinks. And not only does he command the soldiers, he commands all the creatures of the sea as well. So really, Aquaman could take over the Earth if he wanted to. And the fact is, when he came to join the government of the planet, and they laughed at him in one of the stories, it shows that to get him back, he just called a load of whales, mash a massive wave onto the door to knock it down. And then they accepted him because he is a badass. Well, thanks for watching this week. It's been interesting. I hope you all enjoy it. Guys, say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.